Okay, with this many people here, Yvonne has requested that we tell
Just
them
remind
to
people.
wait for the microphone until they ask their questions. Okay.
I'm old. I'm not as fast as I used to be.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Hello. All right, ready? All right, guys, we ready to do this? Thank you, guys. All right, well, I'm Landon with the Sugar House Community Council. Thanks for coming tonight. There's a lot of new faces in the crowd, so thank you for coming. The usual plea from Highland High Family Services, looking for following supplies: deodorant, toothbrushes and toothpaste, shampoo and conditioner, body soap, and laundry detergent. You can drop it off at the Hive, please. Reminder, no meeting in July, so this is it. We'll have a nice summer break. We're gonna go right to QIT. You guys ready to go? So this is about the S-Line extension. So we have folks from UDOT here. If you guys raise your hands. We have QIT. We have Billy Knowles from the city. We have Lynn Jacobs, the new transportation director here. We got a whole host of, and UTA. This is here. There's no debate about this, so we're just here to hear what they're going to do. So we're going to be nice in here. Yeah.
Should be nice.
For the flag.
Yeah, I always have to say that. I have to remind people. What's that?
For the slides. Just
Yeah.
hello, everybody. I'm Ethan Ray. I'm the UTA project manager for the S-Line extension. Just wanted to come today to kind of provide an update because we are getting really close to the construction starting. We've started some preliminary work with the road closure at Sugarmont, and we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that today. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, next slide, please. So just kind of an overview on the project. So currently the S-Line ends at McClellan and right by Fairmont Park. This project will extend it about a quarter mile across Highland Drive into the Sugar House Center. And this really will kind of help provide better access to a lot of the key destinations that are in Sugar House. As part of this project, we also are adding an additional streetcar to the service. So currently during the day, there's 2 vehicles running all day, 1 spare. We're adding a third to allow us to continue to run 15-minute service on the alignment, and then that still provides us a spare if anything happens to any of the vehicles. We're also adding signals to the intersection along the corridor. So McClellan at Sugarmont will have a signal, 1100 East and Simpson will have a signal, and then the signal at Highland Drive and Simpson will be upgraded as well as part of this project. We have about a 15-month construction schedule that we've just kicked off just a little short time ago. And so we anticipate being completely done by August of 27. So that includes time for UTA to do all the testing that we need to do before we begin service. Next slide, please. So this is a map. It looks like it got a little wonky with turning it into a PDF, but basically what this kind of shows is where our current end of the line is. We're going to be going along Simpson, and we'll be that portion of it will be separate from the roadway. So the roadway will be right next to the S-Line, and the S-Line will have its own corridor. Once we get to 1100 East, we're going to pull out into the roadway, and that's why there's a traffic signal there to facilitate that movement. So we'll have a short portion of mixed service with cars, and then once we cross across the street into the Sugar House Center, we'll be back on our own, and that's where the station will be located. We'll have access to that station from both Highland Drive as well as into the Sugar House Shopping Center. So that will really provide really good access as there's a lot of key destinations in this area. Next slide, please. So kind of just some of the benefits. The S-Line has seen a lot of economic development since it was put in. The University of Utah did a study that kind of found that there was roughly $2 billion of private investment. Now, some of that may have happened without the S-Line, but a lot of that wouldn't have because it occurred right adjacent to our station. So the S-Line is a really strong driver for the economy and for redevelopment. And that's one of the key components that we're trying to continue with this project and really strongly tie it into the community and really make it a strong anchor. a lot of people who aren't familiar with the area, they don't even know how close it is to all the key destinations in Sugar House because it's tucked away there at the park. This extension will really make it visible so that everybody knows that it's an option. And it really improves access time. For example, with the Sugar House University of Utah Center, it's currently at about an 11-minute walk from our station up to it. It'll cut down to a 5-minute walk with the new station. And this is just, we really want to see more transit ridership, and this area is really congested with a lot going on. So the more people that we can get onto transit, the better it is for everybody. Next slide, please. So just kind of a quick overview on the funding. There's a lot on here. I'm going to kind of try to highlight this relatively quickly because I don't want to get too far into the weeds with the costs. But it's about a $43.5 million project. About $32 million of that is for construction and design. There's property funds that were part of this project, and I'll kind of touch on the city portion in a minute with where all the funding is coming from. And then we've rehabilitated a vehicle for this service. So there was an old vehicle that was running on the red and green lines that had been in a major accident that wasn't able to be in service anymore. UTA restored that vehicle, and then instead of putting it back on the red and green lines, we moved it over to the S line. So that cost was part of the overall project costs. And then there's just our UTA cost for managing and delivering the project. The majority of our funding is coming from the state. We have almost $40 million of state funding. That includes a one-time legislative appropriation that came to the project, as well as TTIF funding, which is funding that UDOT manages for transit projects. And then the local match is coming from a combination of sources. So Salt Lake City, where we're running in Salt Lake City right-of-way, the city's donating that right-of-way to the project, so UTA is not having to pay for the corridor that we need for that portion. UTA donated the vehicle that's being rehabilitated. And then we also are providing some UTA funding directly to the project. Salt Lake City is also providing some funding to the project because this is improving some roadways that were already on the city's list for improvements. And then the Salt Lake City Community Reinvestment Agency, they own the property that's kind of in the corner, the triangle at Sugarmont and Simpson and Highland. And they're part of this project and providing funding to help advance the demolition of the buildings, which we'll talk a little bit more about shortly. And next slide. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Kiewit. Kiewit is our contractor for the project that's delivering the project. And this is Adam Knoll, and he's our construction manager. And he's going to kind of talk through a little bit more detail on the timeline of impacts and what's coming next.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, I don't need the microphone. Thanks, Ethan. My name is. Oh, excuse me.
You're on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know. Nobody told me about that part. Thank you, everybody. My name is Adam Knoll, and I'm with Kiewit Infrastructure, and like Ethan said, we're the contractor. So some key dates here is we got our board approval just about 2 months ago, and what we've done since then is, as of this week, we closed Sugarmont in between McClelland and Highland, and that's always been part of the plan with this project, was to close that so that the tracks could come through. And then this week we've been working on utility investigation. We've got, as part of this project, we've got Rocky Mountain Power overhead lines that we need to get relocated because you can't have overhead lines near the OCS lines that power the trains. So that being said, we started that this week, and then as we progress through the summer here, we will continue with utility relocations and roadway work, and then getting in towards the end of next month, we will begin with actual track work. We'll start the excavation for the guideway, and then we'll start laying rail towards the end of July. Okay, so as part of this project, we're putting in the new station, right? The new end of line stop will be in the Sugar House Center parking lot. So that work will start later on this month as well, with the removals of the old parking lot area, and then we're going to build the retaining walls. We have a nice graphic we'll show you here in a second that shows what that's going to look like when we're complete with the project. So utility restorations, demolition, platform construction, and then track construction. So Parking lot restoration, we'll get that put back together here at the end of the summer in October. And then we will get the canopy set end of the year. And then next February is when the poles will start going up. So by the end of this year, tracks will be done, all of our utility relocations, majority of our roadway work will be complete this year. Get the OCS. So the OCS is the overhead wires that power the train. We'll do all of that February, then we start into our testing, and then we'll be done just over a year from now. Next slide, please. So as I talked about a little bit, we've got demolition coming up, and then our utility work is underway. Next month, end of this month into next month, we'll get into the actual big utility relocations. Those are mainly located on what I referenced earlier, coming around Sugarmont into 1100 and then down to Simpson with the undergrounding. And then we've got a couple of water lines that also need to be relocated as well to get the tracks through. So there will be with this some traffic control changes, lane closures. We'll have some longer term lane closures out there as part of this work. The Highland work will generally be concentrated to one time next or this coming October. Most of our traffic control and lane restrictions will be on 11th and Simpson as this work, as well as the work on McClellan that will be starting later into next month. We need to go grab the tracks off the end of the existing Fairmont station and extend those. That'll be one of the first track activities we do. So what does it mean to you? What are the construction impacts? So we'll have lane reductions, lane closures on Highland, 11th, Simpson, and McClellan. The road closure of Sugarmont that I talked about first off, and then we'll have parking reductions in the Sugar House Center parking lot to where we build the new station. We will have pedestrian detours, but access will be maintained at all times. Parley's Trail will be maintained at all times, and we might have to cross the street, but we will have clear ADA accessible walkways, bikeways for everybody. We do have a little bit of work that we have to do at night in Highland. We have one water line that we will communicate and get the word out when we're going to be out there. We've got a few weeks worth of work out there in Highland with water line relocation, but that should be about the extent of the night work for this project. Like I said, we'll do the advance notice via the UTA channels, and then what we're doing right now up until we start testing, there'll be no interruptions to the current S-Line system. Next slide, please. This looks like an Ethan.
So we have some frequently asked questions on the website that you can get to. We wanted to highlight a couple of them that we didn't really hit in the presentation. So one of the big ones that comes up a lot on this project is, why is it costing so much? It is a very short project, and the cost can seem surprising. There's a lot in this area that we're working through. We're not building track in a guideway that has nothing in it. This area has been around for a long time. There's a lot of utilities in the ground that we're working with. There's a lot of work that we do to make sure things are ADA accessible. So our station at the end of the line, the grade of the parking lot is coming up, and we can't have a station on a grade that high. So we're actually having to kind of dig into the parking lot to allow a level boarding at the station. So all these different things, they really add up. They're important, and they're necessary, and they're needed to make the project happen. But that's kind of why the costs are so high. And kind of as far as kind of why we're doing this, this is something that's been desired for a long time. When the S-Line was originally built, there was a hope to get it further than it did go. But just funding limitations at the time did not allow that to be possible. There's been a variety of different studies that have looked at potential extensions. This is where we landed as the best location to really serve the community based on the funding that we have available. And it really improves access, like I mentioned earlier, to a lot of the key destinations in the community where everybody's really trying to get, where there's jobs, where there's businesses to go to. So that it really improves that, and ultimately will help support those businesses and the local economy. So with that, I think if I don't know how much time we have for questions, but I think we can open it up for some questions.
Okay, here.
Hi, I have a couple of questions. What is the depreciation life of this project? And I have three actually. And what is the current use, rider use, and the anticipated rider use? And where will the maintenance money be coming from?
Yeah, so good question. So rail typically has a 50-year life, and then we continue to maintain it so that it can go beyond that. At the end of the line, where the station is located, we're leasing that property from the private property owners. We have working on a long-term lease that has a minimum of 50 years with an automatic another 50-year renewal. So we see the project being around for a long time. As far as the maintenance goes, maintenance is an important part of what UTA is doing. You may have noticed that we currently have a significant portion of our track lines impacted because we're maintaining the rail. That's something that UTA is constantly doing, and this will be part of our operating budget. It's been in our service plan, so it's going to be incorporated into to UTA's continual operations and moving forward that we're delivering. We anticipate about a 10 to 12% increase in ridership with this extension. We currently have about 1,400 riders on the S-Line on an average day. The per mile, because the S-Line is so short, is actually carrying the same number of people per mile as like the Green Line. So it's very comparable to our larger services. It's just on a smaller scale, and it's providing a different service than our TRAX lines. The TRAX lines are really about getting people further distances. This is about a first last mile connection, and what that means is we're really trying to connect people into the system. There's a lot of people that are wanting to get to the Sugar House community, but from our TRAX lines, it's far away. So this really helps connects people in and provides that access.
What hours of service do you contemplate having?
So this will match our existing service. So roughly 5 in the morning to midnight. With more, it starts to taper off in the later evenings.
My question is, in this parking lot area, what do you mean by you're gonna dig in a little bit? Like, is the station gonna be in the middle of the parking lot or to the side, or?
That's a very good question. So we're gonna have what's called retaining walls. They're gonna go around the outside of the station, and the station's gonna be level, and then the parking lot is gonna be a little bit above that around us. So that allows the train to be level, but also for us to have the parking lot. And then in the future, the private property owner may redevelop that site and do something different with it. But for the time being, we're going to restore the parking lot on the portion that the station itself is no longer on.
Okay, thanks.
This is a simple one. Do you have the rendering of the new station that we can see?
We do. It was in this slide deck. I'm not sure what happened.
Because that would answer the question about it being below grade.
100%.
Do you foresee people parking in that Sugar House parking lot to use the S-Line?
No,
And go further?
no, that there won't be any park and ride for the S-Line. The S-Line isn't really built as a system for park and ride. It's that first last mile connection, and we won't have any capacity for any park and ride from that location.
I'd just like to say something. I ride the S-Line most days of the week. Just go out to the McClellan station near the line. There's a big poster, shows you what it's going to look like when it's on the east side of Highland Drive. Done.
Just get that.
Yeah.
You might want to repeat it.
Yeah, he was just mentioning we do have signage out on the system right now. So there's a sign there at the end of the line. There's also one at Central Point, and we have one in the middle of the line. You can get the rendering is on that, and if you scan this here, you can get more information as well, and get to the website with the rendering. Perfect.
Hi, is there ever going to be a park and ride area for people to park to use the S line? Because most of my employees come from close by and we're not going to be able to park where we normally park. And so the closest parking is the central station. Is that correct?
Yeah, so kind of like I was mentioning earlier, the S line is a little bit different in that it's not pulling people from very far distances where park and rides are required. Like trucks will people will go up to 5 miles a lot of times and drive to get to the station. The S line is really more about that pedestrian access and improved access to get from those lines into these destinations. Parking is, I think, a bigger issue in the area, and I know Lynn Jacobs with the city here is very aware of that and has kind of worked on that, and so I think there's more long term to come from that.
Do you have a question? Oh, yeah. It's on. Sorry.
So I was just curious, how far into the Sugar House Shopping Center will the UT or the S line go?
So it stops just short of the building where Verizon and TCBY is. So there will still be a drive behind the station itself for fire access and for accessing the parking that will stay. But we'll just be shy of that building that's there.
That's it.
Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
You're
good.
right next to me.
I know.
missed you.
My name is Kyle. I'm from Utah Stories. I was just wondering if you've gotten any feedback from businesses about whose customers use that parking lot. Are they concerned about lack of parking?
Yeah, so the property owners at the end of the line have been working closely with all their tenants and kind of coordinating on what's happening in that area and trying to figure out kind of what happens during construction. And then they're also working on long-term plans of what the future of that area looks like. None of that's going to happen until the S line is completed. So that some of those future improvements to the parking are a while out.
Are you anticipating, like, I'm just picturing there being less parking in general. Is that part of wanting to kind of stress the walkability of the area and pedestrian usability?
Ultimately, the parking will shift around a little bit. The parking lot right by the movie theater, there will be fewer stalls there. We are restoring parking in the areas where the station isn't, but there is parking on other locations on the property that the property owners are working to kind of move some of that around for the near term, and then in the long term, there'll be more change that comes in the area. Perfect.
Anybody else?
Oh, that would.
Maybe into the neighborhood east.
So what's currently in the long range plan, there's no eastern extension currently in the long range plan. There is an unfunded line that would go north-south on Highland, but because it's unfunded, that means that it's a very long time away from happening. So right now, in the kind of foreseeable future, there's not a whole lot. Yes, and we also will have a transfer to our Route 220 that will be another way that folks can get to the line. The bus, yes.
Has UTA ever thought about running a line down 7 East?
That's kind of separate from all this right now.
Well,
So
I know, but do you know if there's been talk about that? Because from north to south, 7 East is used and it has that median. So my thought is like, that's a great connector.
So what I would tell you, our long range transit plan effort is currently ongoing, and we're collecting information for what does the future look like, and so through that process, that's where I would recommend kind of bringing that up and working with the planning group to determine what that looks like.
And I think Highland Drive is a bad idea. It's too congested.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Hey, we have some Hewitt mugs, whatever you guys want back here. Lynn, you ready? So this is our new director of transportation for Salt Lake City.
Thank you. Thank you, Landon. I'll do my best to hold it up. And thank you all for, first off, for enduring all of our dust while we rebuilt most of your neighborhood. I know it was a painful couple of years, and you guys were just awesome to work with, as painful as it was. I know that Kiewit's going to do their best to minimize the impacts on Highland Drive. Our businesses on Highland Drive, Tizanti, Sugar House Coffee, all those folks have already endured a lot. So I think that you'll see some impacts on Highland Drive, but they're going to do their best to really make that a very small impact. And a lot of people ask me, why didn't we do this back when we built Highland Drive? Well, the funding wasn't available. So it's just a matter of how this works. The reason I came tonight was I wanted to share with you the streets division's plan to resurface some of our streets this summer. So we've got some resurfacing coming. This is something we do every year. The streets division does a great job of planning ahead, figuring out which roads need what. So there'll be a link at the end of this that you can look at the website and zoom in. The streets that you see colored are streets that will get some sort of resurfacing. So either an overlay, or they're going to do a chip seal or a slurry seal. So those are different kind of treatments that we do on the roadway. Overlay is where they actually come in and add a new couple inches of pavement on the top. Quite often they'll mill out some pavement and then they'll add new pavement back in where it was. The chip seal is where they put down a layer of like tar, and then they put rock chips on it, and then they put another layer of tar on the top of it. That provides a really good long-term wearing surface. And then the slurry seal is just a thin layer of like, it's kind of an emulsion that they put on top of the roadway. The reason we do this is that we found that if we can just take care of the roads that are in good shape, that they'll last a lot longer and we won't have to spend millions and millions of dollars rebuilding them. Fortunately, in the city, we have a lot of roads that are past the ability to really do that. They're kind of went beyond what maintenance can do. But these are roads that have been identified where the maintenance still makes a ton of sense and will just lengthen the life of those projects or of those streets. One thing that's really fun, whenever we do a chip seal, it gives us a chance to change the paint on the roadway because it covers up all the old paint, and then we can come back and modify the paint. And so in this neighborhood, we actually found one place where we want to make a change. And I'd love to get your guys' input on it tonight, and just hear from you what you think about it. So if you can scroll to the next slide, hopefully it's coming up here. We're having technology problems tonight. I think you all know that at the corner of 15th East and 21st South, right where you go into Sugar House Park, if you're southbound, that through left does not line up with the lane on the other side. I've been hearing about this for years, and for years I've been waiting for that road to show up on this map. This is the year. So basically what we're going to do right now, it's a through and a left next to a right turn pocket. We're going to tear that out, or we're going to cover that over, that paint. And we're going to come back and we're going to make it so it's a left turn with a shared through right. So the through lane will line up with the receiving lane on the other side of the intersection. Anyone have any concerns about that? I've been hearing it for years. I wish we could have done it years ago. It's really difficult for us to remove paint. If we go out with one of the paint removal trucks, it actually damages the road surface. And so we try not to do that, especially when the city's spending millions and millions of dollars trying to make our roads better. The last thing we want to do is ruin them. So whenever we see these opportunities, we say, what can we do to clean things up a little bit? That's the only change we have planned for the neighborhood with this program. So hopefully that is great for you guys. If you go to the next slide, sometime this summer. So the streets division goes out there and they work on their own schedule, and they have equipment that breaks down, and they have equipment that works good one day and not good the other day. They're going to do their best to get all this done this summer. The hope is that they get through the whole thing. Oh, there it is. There we go. So that showed through left and the right, and you can see that that right turn actually lines up really well with the other side. That should really clean that up. The last slide, there's just a URL, maybe up. He's got all messed up. It was up just a second ago, Derek. Okay. There's a URL that you can go to that you'll see you'll have an interactive map where you can zoom in, zoom out, see all the things. I meant to get a QR code today. I did not get to it. If you guys want to just take a picture of this, this is the URL that will take you to the same map that you can actually zoom in. There's no way you guys saw all the streets all at once while we had it up. So with that, I'm just grateful for all of you guys. I love Sugar House. I love being here tonight and appreciate you all. And look forward to fixing this little problem at Sugar House Park that we've been wanting to do for a couple of years. Okay.
Welcome back. Gail, you ready? She's really looking forward to this. This is Gail from Commerce and Craft to talk about her business.
I just wanted to just introduce myself and say hello and to let you guys know that the business is now here. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Commerce and Craft. That was on, thank you, 1100 and 1950 South. Thank you so much. Anyway, so that location is closed now, and I decided to expand upon this location. Thank you to the Neighborhood High for having me and giving me the space to do this. As I said in my closing flyer, it takes a neighborhood to run a small business, and that is the truth by far, and that is why I am grateful to be here. And I just want you to know I'm still going to carry a lot of the same things, same concept, handmade, local, fair trade, sustainable. So that is still the focus of Commerce and Crafts. So if you've been a shopper before, thank you. I hope to see you in here as well. And that's it. I just wanted to say hello.
Wasn't so bad. All right, we're going to hear about Yoga 6 now. Come on over. Sorry, this is a kid calling.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Mika. I'm from Yoga 6. Has anyone here been to our studio before? Oh, hey. Well, thank you so much for coming by. We are located on the corner of Whole Foods. So right across the street from Hill's Kitchen, where we've experienced a lot of the parking and the Highland construction, but we made it. We survived. We opened in 2020. What makes our studio really special is that we teach based off of accessibility. So the way that we use language, the props that we use, the way that we style our classes, it's to make it accessible for everyone. We have warm to hot yoga, a mobility class. We just added a hot mat Pilates class, and we also have a sculpt class. We've been a member of the chamber for like 3 years now or something like that. So you can find us like at chamber events. If you're interested in doing a collaboration, we love working with other businesses. So very much, community driven. And yeah, we built a really cool space for ourselves over the last, 5 or 6 years. I do have some free class cards. I didn't realize there was going to be this many people here. Oh, okay. And we have some up here too. So if you're interested in dropping in for a class, come grab one for me, and I'm happy to answer questions as well. Thanks, guys.
Bill, you ready? You might as well hear about more construction from Bill Knowles. He'll keep it short. Busiest man in Sugar House. He loves an audience, though.
I'm kind of anticlimactic, you know. What have I got to say left? Everything's okay. All right. There's a couple of things still going on. We had some of you might have attended the groundbreaking of the Irma. You were there at Fairmont, and we all got to find out, some of us who weren't really well versed on the Irma factor, we got a lot of good news and information on the Irma factor. So if you don't and haven't heard what that is, like I had not, you can look it up on their website. There's actually a little thing they've done for the project, and it's a lot about Irma. And she was a lot about Sugar House. So I think it'd be worth your time to look it up. We were impressed. Weren't you impressed? Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, that is now officially digging out on the site. It will be going on now for about 18 months. It is right snug up tight to the S-Line project. Certainly the first phase of that, especially of the demolition of the DI building, which is now sort of underway. There's people inside looking at stuff, and actually they delivered a porta potty to the site. And that's pretty much, yeah, that tells a story right there. So it is underway. And that is something that is been long awaited. I've looked back, it's been on my list 7 years. So, and it's happening. So we're all excited about that. You heard everything you need to know right now about the S-Line. I can't tell you how excited I am to see us here at that point. And it was really great news to see everything fall into place finally, and it's on the way. Down the street from that is, and a little bit over, is the Elm Street 10th and Elm project, we're still calling it. And we've had some bumps starting off on that project, which we have worked with the contractor to resolve. Not the least of those was parking, you know, go figure. But anyway, they were filling up the street on Elm Street, where so many of those residents depend on that as to their own parking. And we did. And I have to say again, the contractor was very responsive, like within hours, I think. He got things cleaned up in pretty good shape. And we remain still parking challenged. So there's no two ways that we can't sugarcoat that. The park people are working with us right now to look at the Boys and Girls Club West Side over there by the tennis courts. We are shopping around. Private parking is like zip. It's so valuable, they can't give any. So we're working on that. But the point I'm making is we know we want to keep the workers where they're in a parking spot, not taking it from somebody else, certainly not taking it from businesses especially. So we're in the still a work in progress on that. Let's see, there's some news. You didn't hear it from me, it's just unofficial. So it's just between us right here. All right. But the liquor store will not be moving soon. It'll be in its current place for a couple of years, but it will be relocating over on the 21st South as part of the Boyer project there on the Midas block. And within about 2.5 years, the new liquor store, which was at one point going to be across the street, is now going to be on the north side of the street. And again, that's been a little bit of a drama going on behind the scenes for a few months now, and I couldn't wait to tell somebody. So, yeah, but don't tell anybody. It was me. Anyway, that is something that's on the horizon, probably starting after the first of this year coming up. I'm looking at the upcoming, the Zion's property. That too is still under some discussion and working out some details as to variants they're looking for on height. And it's not an extreme variance, anything like the Wells Fargo project, but they're still asking for some extra height, and that discussion is still being had with planning, and right now they're kind of in a stalemate. Why I'm saying that is we had originally thought it would be happening by or before this fall, and it won't be. It's going to be happening next year, and it'll be a nice project when it's done, but they're still negotiating. Highland, is anybody here from Highland High? Well, oh, what a coincidence. Landon. Yeah, how's things going over there at Highland High? You know?
Oh, Highland High, is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Oh, see. See what a tough job I got? Yeah, it's just, yeah, okay. Well, what we do know is that it is mostly on site now. We had some early concerns and reports of dust as they were starting the project, and there were some people that had some problems with the wind coming up and blowing dust. They have responded. They're, excuse me. As far as I checking on it myself, I see it getting watered regularly, and I think that much of it is in check. Right now, everything else is pretty much on site and not impacting anybody. That is much, I think, unless you have any questions here. Oh, I do. I have one. I don't know if the individual is here tonight, but I was in a meeting a couple of weeks ago on the IHC, on the new LDS hospital, with the fire department folks, helped facilitate a meeting to get everyone together on that. And it occurred to me, we had a comment last meeting about the fire department and to what degree they get involved and see ahead on some of these developments, and especially apartment buildings, et cetera. And of course, that was relative to the fire down at the Sugar Alley that we all experienced here a few years ago. And I was going to report that as I even sat through that meeting, it occurred to me, and as I listened and heard all of the questions and all of the criteria that the fire department does lay out on these projects and how they are engaged with them all the way through, I'll say that it was not the fire as to it getting to the point that it did, was due to other circumstances and not because the fire department couldn't get water up to it or was not prepared to. And I wanted to make that comment in explanation because there was a question here a month ago and a legitimate question. I mean, it was like, what the hell happened there? And there was other circumstances at play, I'm sorry. But anyway, that is a situation I want to say the fire department is engaged from start to finish on these projects, no matter where they are, but particularly the higher off the ground they get, they are engaged and everything has to be done to make it work for them. So with that, I think I've worn out my welcome here.
Couple questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Questions?
Hi, Bill.
I know.
I know your name, but I don't know which agency you're with or how you get the information that you provide for us. The second question is,
What? That's calling you out.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe, okay.
Go ahead with your second.
Yeah.
second question is, isn't the Irma senior housing apartments? Is that right?
It is.
And how many units and what, it's not going to be a independent living place. It's going to actually be apartments that people apply for, right?
It is. And it's
Okay.
110 units.
Okay.
And the company that is building it does national projects. And this one is, and I am waiting, and we even asked at the event, how soon can we get a sign-up list, or when do people get to be able to know when and if they can get in? And it's still a work in progress. But yeah, it is, it's going to be, I think, pretty darn nice.
And it's
in
also-
demand.
It's for 62 and over.
It
Okay.
is. That is the
Yeah,
number.
because it's a beautiful
62 and
location.
over. I'm barely making that number myself,
Yeah.
but
That's fantastic. Okay.
some of you.
Um,
I-
and-
20 up to 80% of AMI. Right,
Okay.
Sarah?
Yep.
And then the third question is, you talked about a Elm project, Elm Avenue, 10th and Elm, and I don't know where or what that is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
Where is 10th and Elm?
10th and Elm.
What's that big, like, mansion house?
Project
Like
10th and Elm.
Oh, okay.
No.
So
It's at
Bill,
10th and Elm.
okay. Now that I know the location where it is in Sugar House, and the first question,
Okay, go back to your first question.
the first question is, I know your name, but I don't know which agency
You know
you're
what? That
with.
was very sloppy of me.
And the resources.
I apologize. I'm Bill Knowles and I'm Community Ombudsman for Salt Lake City. And that's what I do. I'm retired. This is what I'm doing while I retire. So, okay.
Actually, you're with the CIA, Construction Information Agency.
You blew my cover.
Community,
Right.
yeah.
Thank
Right.
everybody.
I'm just wondering, any whispers or rumors about the Snell Grove site?
About the what site?
Snell Grove.
Oh, geez.
Sorry.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking, it's interesting because I was looking up some notes on more on the Montero and some of the stuff about that project and how long overdue and all. And I happened to see 5 years ago that the site was cleared and ready for construction any day now. And that was 5 years ago. There are some plans now being presented to the planning department, we are told. And according to Nick Norris, the head planner, they look very positive. And I say that because there's been, I think this is the third or fourth iteration, and they just haven't come across, there was always been something wrong, but he feels these are looking pretty good. Yep, so there's something gonna happen.
Okay, well done.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, stay right here. I'm gonna need you. Hey, we have someone from the Downtown Community Council here. This is Grace. She just wanted to come see our show, so. Sally, you want to talk? Ready, Sally? Yeah. And then the folks from South Salt Lake can come on up as well.
I'm Sally Bearclough from the, it sounds like we should introduce ourselves. So from the Parks, Open Space and Trails Committee of Sugar House Community Council. And the fire department yielded their time to me, so you get me instead of them. I just have a few announcements to make. We had an outstanding scavenger hunt in Fairmont Park in spite of the pouring rain. And so, yes, thanks to everyone who turned out for it. I think we had 5 teams. And we ended up having prizes for everyone. And so it was really fun, even though it was pouring rain. And I learned quite a bit of little factoids about Fairmont Park that I didn't know about. So Sarah Woolsey, thank you so much for all your efforts in that. And then of course our volunteers were great. So, and then we are going to be having an in-person post meeting. Most of the time we meet via Zoom, but we try to have a couple of in-person meetings throughout the year, or in the summer especially. So Monday, the 8th, from 6 until 7, we'll be at Fairmont Park at the pavilion that's just west of the Aquatic Center. And we have some people coming. Amy Reed is going to come and give us an update on the construction projects and what's going on in Allen Park. So if you have interest in Allen Park, be sure to come. Tyler Fanaro is also going to come. He has a lot to do with Allen Park, but he also has information about the things going on in Hidden Hollow, Parley's Historic Nature Park, and the East Bench Preserve and the H Rock. So I think there's been some movement and things going on there. So if you have questions, be sure to come. He will be there. Kira Johnson is going to come. She's the lead engineer on the Fairmont Park project. And so she's going to give us an update on what's happening and what we can look forward to in the next few months. The important to me is the first time I'll get to meet Kim Shelley, who is the new director of Salt Lake City Public Lands. And I think she actually took that position last fall or late summer, but we haven't really had a chance to meet her. So this would be a chance to come out and introduce yourself and ask her questions and see what's going on in Salt Lake City Public Lands. And then Sarah Young is going to be there, City Council person extraordinaire. and her sidekick, Julie Maury, I think will be there, hopefully. And last but not least, Hannah Barton will be there to represent the mayor's office. So we have quite a lineup of people, and it should be a really good meeting. I have it slated for 6 to 7, but I have a feeling it'll go later than 7 with that many people wanting to give us updates. And then the last, 2 things to announce. Yappy Hour is June 11th in Fairmont Park from 6 until 9. You do not have to have a dog. You just need to come and be ready to have fun with all the puppies that are showing up for Yappy Hour in Fairmont Park. And then last but not least, I've handed out some flyers to some of you. The music stroll is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 13th. Starts at 3 o'clock. The first band on the big stage is a 17-piece big brass band. And so we really encourage people to get there for that one because it's such a big act. And then we have 40 bands, 14 stages, 10 food trucks. It's a free event, but people always tell me to remind everyone, food trucks are never free. So bring some money for the food trucks, but all the bands, all of the activities are free. And it's from 3 until 8 o'clock. And I see some, yeah, where is it located? 2828 South, 1530 East is the kind of the intersection of Fillmore and Acton. We set up 14 stages, 7 on Fillmore and 7 on Glenmere. And so 14 stages, you just walk around, listen to the music. It's a good time, right?
Yes. Hey, real quick, what was the date and where are you guys meeting for that meeting?
Oh, the post meeting is Monday, the 8th, this coming up Monday, from 6 until 7 in the Fairmont Park. And the Aquatic Center, there's a pavilion just west of that Aquatic Center. So that's where we meet.
Sally, are you gonna be selling tickets?
The raffles?
At Heart and Soul. There will be a couple of raffles, not as much as we've had in the past, but we have an acoustic guitar that's being raffled away and some tickets to concerts, which I think might be Red Butte concerts. We have a donor who donates some of their Red Butte tickets to some of those concerts. So we'll be raffling those. And of course, we're always accepting donations. That reminds me, I want to thank the Sugar House Community Council for making a contribution toward this event because it's a little spendy. And then Sarah Young will be tabling. And so she has also made a nice contribution to help pay for our expenses. But we take donations and we take volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, let me know. I have some handouts and yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, thank you. It's the best. Thank you. Come on up, guys. So we've had Mill Creek come maybe the last 4 or 5 years to talk about their city center plans. So we thought it'd be cool to have South Salt Lake here today. So they don't have community councils, so this is their first.
Yeah, I'm Eliza Ungrich. I'm the Deputy Director of Community Development.
I'm Spencer Colley. I'm the Senior Planner in Community Development.
And so we're here to talk about South Salt Lake. Let's see if we can get our slide up. No, you're great. So we'll mainly talk about the things that are closest to you guys because we felt like that's the most important. And so most of our things that we're talking about are located in our downtown district, which is located in between State Street and I-15 and then I-80 to 21st South. We have a lot of redevelopment happening in that area. If you guys have driven in that section of South Salt Lake. I will happily take that interruption because it's not the BYU fight song. But in this area, we don't have a height limit. We are trying to get a lot of multifamily in this area. We have applied for an HTRZ application, which is for a housing transit reinvestment zone. And so it's a state initiative to get more housing around transit. So with UTA here, we do have our Central Point station and we have an S-line stop there, which is also named Central Point, which isn't confusing to anyone. And so we are trying to get as much housing there, apartments mainly, because we don't have a lot of residents in South Salt Lake. Most of it is single family homes and only about a third of South Salt Lake is residential and then 2/3 is industrial. So we're trying to bump up our residential base. And in this area, it makes the most sense to put apartments. And so we are currently building one big apartment redevelopment that Spencer worked on called Market Center that he can talk more about.
There are some pretty pictures because my boss always says never have a presentation without pretty pictures. The Market Center development is located at 2280 South State Street, just south of the Winco and the S-Line stop. It will be built in 4 phases. Their current phase includes a structured parking lot, and that it will also have the bulk of of the units will be in this phase. It will also have retail on phase 1 and phase 2. And then their 4th phase is expanding. So they had about 470 affordable units at 80% AMI, and that will increase to, I think, around 520. They do range from studio all the way up to 3-bedroom. Most of them are 2-bedroom apartments. Yeah, so this is the Market Center development. As part of the development agreement they have with the city, there will be some public parking available, and this will be complete in 2028.
And so if you drive by it right now, you'll be able to see the parking structure is currently being built, which is exciting to see. And then if you go back one more slide, this one, yeah. So this is the current map of our downtown. So all of these color squares are projects that either are proposed to being built, have been built recently, or are developers that we're working with that have acquired land that we know will be developed probably within the next 5 years. So it's super exciting, a lot of change in this area of the city. So we have a lot of work cut out for us. You can go down 2 slides. This is one that should start construction in the next month or so. It's called Aki 2194. It's a brand new type of concept for South Salt Lake. It has, I think, 14 parking stalls for the 48 units. It took a lot to get the city council on board to have this little parking. They only did it because it's such a small apartment complex. And the way we wrote the code is only 3 apartments could be like this in the city, and then it maxes out. They have a sister project, this developer, on a site right next door. So they're going to build this project and their sister project in tandem. So it should be about a 2-year build site, and that way they can lay down the projects and materials on both sites, and it should be a quicker build for both. So we're excited to see how this one works, and the planning department's really hoping it doesn't flop, because we won't hear the end of it from a lot of people throughout the city with the very high parking reduction that was given. But we're excited to see this happen. This developer has 2 other projects like this throughout the county, and they haven't had any issues with parking just because of the close proximity to transit. And again, this one is very close to the Central Point station. So staff wasn't concerned about the reduction in parking, and it is a micro unit. So it's like 300 square feet. So it's a studio apartment. So it will mainly be students or like young working professionals just starting in a career. So it won't be families living in here. So it won't be, most people won't have a car because they'll be taking transit and they won't be able to afford a car. I don't know if the developers told us. They just keep on saying, we'll know once the construction is done, and we'll know when the market is.
It says 100% affordable, 80%.
Yeah, so it will be affordable, but what that affordability is, it will be based on the market at the time when it's ready to rent. And so that was part of the deal as well. Oh, that is a great question. Affordability, it's based off the county metric. And so it's the average income. And so it's not based off student rent. It's just the average income of the county. And so I don't know that number off the top of my head. And so it's really skewed if you're a student because it's just the average medium income. Well, this is what the developer is saying. And there are studies saying that for these ones, if you're taking tracks and you go to the U, you can just get on the red line and go straight to view. And so it's been successful in their other projects where they have the same number of parking stalls and all their parking stalls aren't even full. One is on 4th and 4th roughly, and the other one is, I don't know where their other one is, but it's, I think, a little further west in Salt Lake somewhere. They're both in Salt Lake. But they're both near track stops, which is, this one will also be located at a track stop. Any other questions about this?
Not about this, but since you're from South Salt Lake, I would love for you to tell these people about your great murals, because not everybody knows.
Yes. So every year we have an event called Mural Fest. We just had it, I think was on May 9th this year. And we try to do 10 murals throughout the city. And so it started 9 years ago. Next year will be our 10-year anniversary. And so most of them are within our downtown district. They've kind of spread throughout. And if you've driven on I-80 and seen the South Salt Lake City Hall, we painted that the past 2 and 3 years. And it is covered in a beautiful mural. And so we're just covering buildings with murals. And we have found that through these murals, buildings aren't getting tagged, which is great. And so we love it. We have a huge collection of artists from local, all the way from international that have applied and come in and paint these murals. This past year, we had Woodrow Wilson Elementary School, which is part of the Grant School District campus. They participated in the mural. The mural artist came in and he had all these, I can't remember what grade it was, but the kids painted all these different characters and designs, and then he incorporated a bunch of them into the mural on Woodrow Wilson, and the kids were just ecstatic that their designs were incorporated onto the mural, and they told them that they made them feel famous, which was super sweet and cute. So if you're ever driving around South Salt Lake, there is murals everywhere. If you go to, they just changed their website, but I think it's sslcarts.com. It will go to the Mural Fest website, and there's an interactive map that shows where all the murals are. We're actively working on getting QR codes by all the murals so it shows more information about the artist when it was put up. Unfortunately, most of them only have a 3-year facade lease for them, so some of these buildings are being torn down with some of this redevelopment, so we are losing some murals, but we are trying to put them back up. We're getting new ones every year, which is a great initiative that our mayor had and a great vision she had, and it's a great thing that our city does every year. Yeah, so our goal was to have 100 after 10 years. COVID kind of killed that, so we've been trying to do more than 10. And so I think next year we'll be a little shy than 100. It just depends how many artists we can get. But I believe this year we had almost like 500 mural artists apply. And so at the beginning, we were scraping just to get 10 mural artists to apply. So it's really blown up and it's something super exciting. Of the city? Yeah, I should have started off with that. If you go to the very first slide, or the second one, this is the rough boundary. So the east boundary, it jogs from like 7th to 5th east. And then it's 21st south to 39th south, and then the Jordan River is our west boundary. So it's really small. We're 7 square miles. Our last annexation from the county was in 1998. So we're a tiny but mighty city. But we have a lot going on. As you can see, this little yellow section is just the residential, and then everything else is commercial or industrial. So it's a unique city compared to most other cities. We have I-80 and I-15 in our city. We have a bunch of other things. We have, for how small it is, we have a bunch of industrial uses. We have the Jordan River sewer facility plant. So we have a bunch of great things in that 7 square miles that we have to work with. Yeah, we also have some great breweries and distilleries as well. Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions for us?
I was wondering if you're, been talking to UTA, as I mentioned before, everybody's heard me. I'm a regular rider on the S line. To get to my credit union, which is in South Salt Lake, I get off at the Main Street stop. Now you're building that massive apartment complex on State Street, and the Main Street stop is tiny. It's the smallest stop on the S line from Central Point out to McClellan. Are you talking to UTA about making that station bigger?
So the station itself will not get bigger, but UTA owns that street, the Central Point Place. As part of this development, and there is another slide somewhere in here that talks about this, we are going to close the south portion of Central Point Place so that it is a plaza area. So it'll be more pedestrian friendly and there will be less vehicle traffic on that street. And then to the north, great, yeah, this is it. So the south here, that's the portion that will be closed. And then on the north side of the S line, currently it's 2 drive lanes, that will be reduced to 1. And then there will be a dedicated bike lane because this has been one of the areas where the Parley's Trail disconnects. So as part of this project, we're going to do some improvements to Central Point Place.
What I'm most concerned about, everybody can see it where it says UTAS line. That's this little bitty structure right there, right on top of that, what I just said. We need more protective structure. Overhead roof, maybe with a heater for the winter. Bench is tiny. You can only fit 2 people on the bench. It would be nice to have more overhead roof and more bench. And if you're going to make the South Park pedestrian, it would be nice if you put some kind of structure out there along there close to where the streetcar is going to stop.
And UTA is planning to double track this section at some point, so they will need to expand the station at that point. They don't have the plans to do it now, but it is in their long-term plan.
Yeah, it's already built into the State Street crossing.
Correct.
One track used, another track that has no connection.
Correct. We good? Yeah. Well, thanks for having us. You guys really are nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We have, did everybody get their ballot yesterday? We have Nate Bluen over here. He's going to speak for a few minutes, okay?
Shout out to South Salt Lake. We love South Salt Lake is the only city that I represent the entirety of. All the other cities I represent are just bits and pieces because gerrymandering. Yeah. So is there something going on in a couple weeks? I don't know. having fun out there. So thanks for hosting as always. Really appreciate the hospitality of Neighborhood Hive and Sugar House Community Council. It's been a pleasure to work with you folks. So as I'm sure most or everyone here knows, I'm running for Congress. I've represented y'all in the state Senate for 4 years now. Really think we need to address some very critical issues at the national level. We need to get money out of politics so that we can actually focus on fighting for working class communities, for our neighbors, for Medicare for all, for the Great Salt Lake. I think Landon or someone was saying, talk about the data center. So that's been on our minds. That was the entirety of the conversation that happened a couple of weeks ago at Interim. I don't know, Sahara, were there? Did your committees talk about data centers? Okay, well, it seems like everyone, like political subdivisions did and natural resources did. And so there's going to be a study on data centers. I don't think it'll be all encompassing enough, but certainly we need to focus on protecting our environment, protecting our accountability. This was such a ridiculous process we saw happen with this data center where there were decisions getting made behind closed doors. We saw, frankly, corruption where campaign contributions were being made as a result of some of these decisions, and it just steamrolled people. And so I think that is such an indicative piece of what we see people have a problem with politics right now. They see these big developers coming in and profiting off of our communities. They see campaign contributions influencing the decisions that are getting made while we struggle to build schools, while we struggle to care for our roads, to build new public transportation, to make sure everyone has health care. And so it's just incumbent that we actually take on these big fights. It's been a privilege in the legislature to take stands that I didn't see other folks taking, and that puts me on the wrong side of some people occasionally, but it feels like the right thing to do. And in DC, I feel like we need people who are going to stand up and really fight for our community right now, because this is a district here in Utah that would have voted for Kamala Harris by 24 points. We don't need to moderate. We don't need to beat around the bush. This is a district where we can send someone to DC who is going to work with Bernie Sanders, who I'm endorsed by, with the Congressional Progressive Caucus members to pass big legislation and fight for the things that have been driving up costs, to fight against the things that are driving up costs, to fight to make sure that we have clean air, that we still have water in our Great Salt Lake. And then we're bringing home resources for our communities, investing here in our backyard and not dropping more bombs overseas. I'm so frustrated by what I've seen and the decisions that are getting made, who is profiting from that. And I can just point back and say, look, when we see how this is all working out, you understand why money in politics is such a big concern, because we see big companies profiting. We see the military industrial complex profiting, big real estate developers taking money out of our communities while people are struggling to get around, to pay for food, to send their kids to college, to pay for medical debts, and addressing material concerns and making sure that we have someone who's going to speak truth to power, stand up to Trump, to the rest of the delegation here in Utah. That's the track record I have in the state Senate, and that's what I want to bring to DC. So it's been a fun ride. I appreciate everyone who's supported. Ballots are out there. We got ours yesterday. I haven't voted for myself yet, but I certainly will. I hope I can earn your votes. Please let me know if you have any questions. We've been all around. This is the second community council we've been at tonight. We had a nice panel up at Greater Avs Community Council, and just will be out as much as possible over the next couple of weeks, talking to voters and hearing concerns and trying to figure out how I can best represent folks in DC. So thank you all.
Any questions?
Happy to take a question or two if you want. Don't need to.
Sarah,
Okay.
do you have a question for me?
I forgot. Happy Pride. Sahara and I shot a Pride video yesterday. So happy Pride, everyone. What do we got? Parade on Sunday, rally on Saturday. Pride Fest is going on this weekend. So show up, get involved, support our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming by. Lori Gray, and then there's somebody else named Landon here. Yeah. So great. So great. There's not very many of us. Come on up.
Hello. Is there anybody here that does not know what the Sugar House Santa Shack is? You all do. Cool. Well, the Sugar House Santa Shack, where Santa Claus is. So the Santa Shack has been in Sugar House, I think, for 79 or 80 years, long time. And it's been across from Key Bank on one side in Patagonia for 6 seasons. But unfortunately, because of the streetcar construction, I have to move it. And it is a tricky thing to move. It is 14 feet tall. And so it has to be moved by a really big forklift, really close to the ground if it's going to fit under any power lines. So I'm looking around, and I am telling you this because I need help and I need ideas. I have reached out. I've asked Sarah about Fairmont Park, anyway, and a couple business owners. It's tough because we don't have enough parking in Sugar House. So finding a parking lot where there's space is tricky. So anyway, if any of you have any ideas, please let me know. I have to move it soon, unless I don't think Bill Knowles is here anymore, but he said he was going to talk to Wade. So we'll see. Wade Olson is the CEO of the shopping center there, and he has been so gracious to let me have the Santa Shack there. I really appreciate it. It's been a great location. So the other thing I want to talk to you about is public art that is going to be here at the Neighborhood Hive. Some of you might have been here when Sophie made her presentation. So Sophie Nebaker is an amazing young woman. She actually was one of the artists at MuralFest in May. She has a new sculpture on the Folsom Trail. She's in North Carolina right now at a workshop. She does ceramics. She's amazing. This is one of her pieces that something broke off that's on display. And I'm holding this up because there's a QR code there. I'm going to put this back in the window when we're done. So you can make your own tile with, excuse me, with Sophie. It will be installed here on the exterior of the neighborhood hive. There's 2 workshops. This is why I need my glasses. Excuse me. One is at Peterson Art Center, June 28th from 3 to 5 p.m. That's a Sunday. The other one's at Iron Desert Arts, July 5th from 3 to 5. So there is a 2-hour workshop. She'll give you context to provide visual aid, showing a mock-up. She's going to give you an idea on a desired design outcome. You'll be decorating your own wet green tiles with provided impression stamps that she will be making and bisquing beforehand. She'll demonstrate some techniques and pressure. You'll get all the materials you need. She'll show you how to do everything. I could read all this, but it's too long. So the workshop fee is $35, and that will pay for all the material costs, studio tech time, artist fee, including the assistant. And this is a public art piece. So she got a grant from Salt Lake City Arts Council, and it's a matching grant. So she has to raise an additional $2,000. That's why she's charging the workshop fee. And she's asking for donations. She's collected about $500 so far. So sign up. She doesn't have that many signups yet. And the QR code is going to be on this. And any questions about that before I move on? I think it's so cool that you can participate in this public art project. You'll be able to walk in the door and go, I made that tile. And one other announcement, I organize the Sugar House Art Walk, and that is February 12th, or February. Anyway, June 12th. It's always the second Friday of the month from 6 to 9 p.m. And we put it on Facebook and Instagram, and I hope you come out. We have more participants in the summer. Sadly, Commerce and Craft won't be one of them, but anyway, any questions? Thanks.
So find a Santa Shack. Find your own Santa Shack. All right, Landon, come on up.
Cool,
Introduce
thanks.
yourself.
All right, hi everybody. I am also Landon, and I am so excited to tell you guys about Bees Around the Block. We are creating 7 bee statues for downtown Salt Lake City, and they're very similar to these, but the big difference is that each bee represents each city council district. So you guys are gonna have a bee all to yourselves because Sugar House has its own district. So it's got the hive, so great. Okay, so what we're doing tonight is we are trying to get some community engagement so we can help design this bee. All of you guys tonight have stumbled into being designers to help us figure out how we are gonna make this bee happen. So if you wanna jump to the next slide, that would be great. Okay, really quick. So I'm going to talk about what the project is, and then we're going to take like 2 minutes and try to think about ideas of what you would like. And if you have a pen, please write it down in the box on the paper. There's a little box that says, that's just blank. Write 1 sentence that Sugar House means to you, and that's what we're looking for. And so Bees Around the Block is the citywide public art initiative celebrating the identity of Salt Lake City's 7 districts through collaboratively designed bee statues displayed on Main Street. With this project, we are looking to celebrate and strengthen neighborhood identity. I love the idea of helping neighborhoods feel collective and feel like you have a common cause. That's not always about a project. Sometimes it's just about being together and sharing art. Creating accessible art, public art experiences, encourage community connection and storytelling, support local artists and creatives, and showcase Salt Lake City's neighborhoods to millions of visitors. So this next year, we have the Temple Open House that's happening, and there is an expected 5 to 8 million more visitors to Salt Lake City this year than our traditional 5 million-ish. So we have a ton more people that are going to be visiting Salt Lake from all around the world. And this is an opportunity that we get to say, like, neighborhood is not Salt Lake City is not a monolith. Utah is not a monolith. We have different kinds of communities here that all have different interests and things and stuff we're doing. So next slide, please. Ooh, that could we, somehow things got glitched. I don't know how to would you mind pulling up the sponsorship guide? There are other slides, but as we've seen a couple of times, there's something happening. Okay, so this is the sponsorship guide. It is similar information directed slightly to a different audience, but we'll kind of use that as a tool. So jump past vision really quick. So to installation. So these statues are about 5 feet tall. So about here, this tall. They are going to start being displayed on Main Street in September, the end of September. One representing each district. The installation will remain for more than a year. And then the Blocks, who is the main funder for this project, has an option to kind of continue its use for future years, but it will be here for at least 1 full year. And then jump to the next slide. So they will be on Main Street, the 4 blocks south of Temple Square. So that's like the downtown core. Yeah, the east side and the west side of the street. Our first approval is at the mouth of Regent Street for our very first B that's going to come up soon. I'm excited. So I am slightly lost without my other slideshow, but I would love for you guys to be able to just take a second, write something into the box, and then we will also pass out other flyers with the same flyer with the QR code. If you guys could scan that QR code, really what this is today is about getting a glimpse of who you are, what you like, what your interests are. So if you scan the QR code, we'll get to be able to gather some of that information, and that will only take 5 minutes or so to kind of get that information going. But over the next 2 minutes, if you want to write something in and then pass it to one of our helpers on the aisles, we've got Sarah in the back in the white, we've got Stephanie over here in the purple, and then we've got Chris over there in the green. So and then the next case, so timeline, we're in the community engagement phase right now. Then we're selecting an artist. So we have we're gonna try to select an artist from every single district. So if you guys know somebody from this district that would like to paint a bee, then we will pay them $1,000. So if you want to see that happen, please send them our way. Then we're also looking for sponsors from each neighborhood as well. So we're looking for businesses that can help supplement the bulk of the funding that we've gotten from the Arts Council and the Blocks to be able to kind of finish off each B. I was able to get funding to do some of the neighborhoods, but I need enough to just push us over so we can represent the whole city. That, would you jump to the next slide really quick? Thank you. So if your business wants to sponsor a bee, we will put your logo on the plinth of the statue, and you will be able to have your business seen by millions of people over the next year. And then if you want to jump to the next slide. And then finally, we're going to have a big kind of kickoff party in the end of September. So stay tuned, come enjoy all of the bees on Main Street. we'll be able to tour all of the districts of Salt Lake City within just a couple of blocks. 10, 15 minutes, and you can get to learn a little bit about every single city, every single district in the city. We're gonna have QR codes at the bottom of each B that help take the data that you guys are creating tonight and say, this is what this neighborhood is about, this is what they care about, this is what they're interested in. So if you put any stories or anything into this QR, into the survey, then we'll be able to start gathering those and putting them on for everybody to see. And thank you for dealing with the mix up with the presentation. I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for your time, guys.
Thank you. Hannah, you ready? Sarah, would you like to go first? Our mayor's liaison.
Thank you. Hi, friends. I'm Hannah from the mayor's office. Hi. Okay. I didn't know if I was going to drive or not. I'll just dive right into my slides with a couple of updates this month. I can drive if you want, if that's easier. Thank you. Okay. This is just a reminder that we are in a drought. I think you all know that. We all are pretty responsible with our water usage. I do want to provide a resource if you are seeing improper water usage in your neighborhood and you feel like letting the city know. This QR code will take you to a place to report that. I also really want to remind folks, our public lands people are begging me to tell you all, dead grass is okay, dead trees are not. We still need to water our trees even when it's a drought. They are crucial to keeping our city cool. We want to keep our urban canopy as healthy as possible. So skip your grass. No need to water it if you don't want to, but please don't skip your trees. They need water and we want to keep them alive. Oh, we really are having unique technology issues today. I don't know what that is. Oh, wow. Okay. This is, ARUP reached out to me today and asked me to start asking community members to consider donating blood. There's always blood shortages in the summer. So if that's something that you can do without passing out like me, there is a blood drive on Monday from 1 to 5 p.m. at the U of U clinic in Sugar House. So very close. You can go donate blood. You can then go over to the post meeting a little bit later. Just stay in the area. You can also donate up at their facility in Research Park 7 days a week. They do ask that you call ahead to schedule a donation, so I've included their phone number there. I don't think so. Yeah, drive I think is just come on in and they'll get you taken care of. This is very fun. This is like, this is modern art. Very short presentation. Let's see. I know that one of these slides was about recycling events. There are some great opportunities for hard to recycle items coming up throughout the summer. They at a neighborhood house in like Rose Park Marmalade area, they are accepting electronics to be recycled all through the month of June. You can drop those off anytime. And then there's a couple of hard to recycle material, like if we're talking mattresses or tires. If you have those items and need to recycle them, let me know and I will get you the event information because I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think that's all I have. Yes. Electronics is at Neighborhood House. I would have to look up the address, but it's in that like Marmalade Rose Park area, very close to I-15. Any other questions about these really fun slides or other things? Yeah.
It's a little confusing. It says outdoor watering should be after 8 p.m. or before.
Oh, I'm sorry, before 8 a.m. Do it when the sun is down, not in the middle of the day. Can you tell that I put these together at 4:45 p.m.? Any other questions about the city? Okay. Oh, yes. Yes, yeah. So the proposed fiscal year 27 budget includes increases for water rates and sewer rates. Is that what you're talking about? The budget has not been adopted yet, so I'm sure that council is still open to receiving comments and feedback up until
the point that they adopt it. They do have to adopt it by the end of June. So that window is closing. Yeah. And I'm happy to talk to you more in detail after the meeting. I gave a presentation about it last month, but happy to pull that up and give you some of the numbers. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you more after this meeting. Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Sorry about the slides.
I love them. They were great. Go him. All right. Here we go, team. So Sarah Young, Salt Lake City Council, excited to be here with you guys. So we're going to start off with the budget. So the budget process is still happening for Salt Lake City. Hannah gave an amazing presentation last time, and I've actually been referencing those slides as we've been talking with different residents and constituents. I'm just going to touch on a couple of key questions that we're getting kind of more than once, just to help clarify on a couple of items that we've heard as the individual departments come and present before City Council. So number one is our justice court system. So the justice court system is one of two well, I guess you could say three, city departments that will be looking at an increase in FTE more than just kind of general change in attrition. Most of this has to do with the increase in cases and petitions that are coming through. And we're losing a ton of efficiency. I'm sure if any of you have ever wanted to go and contest, something, related to like a parking infraction or something along those lines, and you're told, by the way, that's going to be forever, because we basically have run out of capacity within our existing 5 justices. When we add one more justice, it's not just that one person. It also means looking at the subsequent increases on both the prosecutor side as well as the defense side and the additional staff who are within that court system. Just so you know, Chief Justice Liu with Salt Lake City came and has been working with the city for over a year. So this isn't an out of nowhere request. This doesn't get us to even when it comes to matching kind of the recommended caseloads, but it does help us move in the right direction towards addressing it. The other department that we've heard a lot about is our police department that is also adding positions. And I want to help provide some context to that. So one part of the context is that we, as part of our budget update process that council does throughout the year, continually have been approving additional funding for overtime related to being able to just address the normal service level. And we've been paying for that through overtime. Overtime is more expensive. And so we're shifting away from the overtime model to be able to hire just the standard FTE. So that does two things. It maintains our level of service that we've been providing across the city, but also it helps to reduce the fatigue and turnover on our existing public servants. So some folks have asked, I thought we're trying to keep it as even as possible. This is actually the more fiscally appropriate action to be able to have the full-time positions as opposed to the continual triage and the overtime hours. In addition to that, the other piece to the positions is that we're also seeing efforts by the department to be able to help in our alternative response programs, and that includes mental health responders and social workers as part of the police department response, which we know is necessary in terms of being able to help individuals who maybe the police have been called, but that the police aren't going to be the best people to be able to help address the need. And so having those alternative response models is also part of the city effort. In addition to that, we have had some efforts. We have the Community Reinvestment Agency, or CRA, who came and chatted with us about the upcoming efforts in affordable housing, home ownership opportunities, neighborhood improvements, Main Street revitalization, the Japantown public art, and downtown streetscape improvements. It does also include a $4.5 million for the commercial development loan program. So this is really helping to finance mixed use and commercial redevelopment projects that allows the city to be able to bring in businesses and oftentimes help for some of our new local businesses to be able to get a foothold and get started in the city with some lower interest rate financing. In addition to that, infrastructure and utilities has been a big topic of conversation. So when we look at ways to be able to fund the existing infrastructure needs around water and sewer explicitly, which are those systems that we need, but you just don't see on a daily basis. So it's hard to always appreciate how much they're deteriorating. So you can kind of approach it in a couple of ways. One of those ways, which is how Salt Lake historically paid for our major improvements, was we were receiving a lot of federal dollars that were coming in as part of a post-war effort to get America back to work. That's how old our systems are. And so we have extended the life of those systems well beyond their intended use case. So now in most cases, even for projects like this, all the cities across the United States are facing similar timelines. We would again expect to have an opportunity for not full investment at the federal level, but to receive some money from the federal level to help subsidize some of these projects. To give you a sense, last year if you took all those projects and said 100%, the federal investment was at 3% of that total, as opposed to where it's previously been upwards of 20%. So that does mean that we are having the conversation about what we can do locally to be able to address these needs, so that we're not like one of the other cities where they're seeing issues with access to clean water and sewer issues that are like negatively impacting what their normal service rate looks like. So the options of the ways to do that at the local level are kind of twofold. You can either do a standard fee across everyone. You guys have seen that before, the public stabilization rate, where it's like everyone's paying like basically a flat amount in addition to then their services. That's good because then you know what the cost is and we're all sharing it equally. That's also really rough because we have individual households who may be using more water or less water, but everyone has to pay the same. So it doesn't necessarily incentivize that conservation that we're looking for. The other approach is to really do it through a tiered rate system where we are looking at, okay, so we're trying to encourage people to use as little water as possible. So the original water and sewer coming through is at a lower level. And then as you become a higher water user, you end up paying more for the additional water that's coming through. Even with those efforts, Salt Lake City's done an incredible job. We're saving lots of water, go us. That does not also then address the infrastructure needs that we talked about. So a couple of things. We're still working through like what the options are, but I did want to let everyone know we do have, and they spoke about it last month, but I'm highlighting it again. We have a projector rate tool available through Salt Lake City Public Utilities, where you can jump on, take one of your existing bills and be able to enter in your information, and it'll help project not what you're paying today, but with the proposed increase, what type of an expense you'd be looking at on a monthly basis moving forward. As a part of that, it's a really good way to see what does this mean for me and my household and my usage, because we've been giving average numbers out as the city, but each of your households is different. And so it's better to be able to put your information in and figure out kind of what that looks like. If there was another way for us to go in terms of this, trust me, we are turning over every rock. We are applying for every federal grant that is out there that is available. We really are trying to do everything possible aside from not doing anything. And if we did nothing, we are putting us at greater risk year after year. And the costs go through the roof when you're in a triage situation, as opposed to the infrastructure planning that we're trying to do now. Additionally, we are looking at some additional funds for youth and family services. For many of you, you're familiar with Youth City. So we used to also rely on a lot of federal grants for Youth City, and that money is no longer available to us as a city. So we're pulling from other previous efforts and departments to be able to continue to provide that same level of service, even though we're not receiving those inputs as well. Last but not least, we are continuing with the construction mitigation grant program. I know how much this made a difference in Sugar House, and we want to make sure that we're offering the same thing to other areas of the city as they too go through construction. So that's all included in there. All right, budget aside, let's move to some happier news. So Community Reinvestment Agency, we reviewed nearly $6.4 million in wealth building funding allocations. So these are the opportunities where you can rent to also be a partial equity owner, and then you're able to then translate that equity into then a potential future home purchase opportunity. So $6.4 million was approved by council for additional projects in the Salt Lake City area. We also had updates from the blocks and some of the great people you saw about the additional art efforts that are happening across the city. And those will continue, including our special District 7B. I voted and put in my input on what I thought the B should be. In addition to that, we are also looking at, council has done 2 road closures, both on Montgomery Street near 200 South and also on Fortune Road. Those closure efforts allow us to be able to improve our quiet railroad effort. I know that's not a huge issue here in Sugar House, although my husband swears he can hear the trains. I don't know if that's true. But you can imagine for the folks who live very close to there that like having a train honk every time it's crossing over a road is incredibly disruptive, especially when it happens at 3 a.m. in the morning. So the mayor, along with all the council members, have worked really hard to be able to address some of those key issues. A couple of other fun facts from the city. We are looking for a new council member. So the District 4 vacancy process is underway. So a couple of questions we've gotten about that. The vacancy process did close. I think we have 27 applicants who've put in, because that's how much fun it is, team. City council, everyone wants to be there. As a part of that, the process basically will all go down next Tuesday. So each of the applicants has an opportunity to come. They will participate in a process where then the council members do ranked choice voting based on both their application and their presentation there. We decide that night who the appointed council member is. I will note that there have been some changes in state code, so there are now some elements of chance involved. So if 2 individuals get the same amount of votes, they will be drawing a name out of a bowl. I know. So like everyone, I know, like I said, bring your lucky dollar with you. And then in addition to that, that new council member will be joining us moving into the council discussions from there. And then last but not least, actually, I have 2 more. So local event that you may consider, Tizante is hosting a fabulous new photography artist, and I have some examples up here. She's doing a show currently at Tizante, so you can go anytime, but she's actually doing a gathering on June 18th at 6 p.m. where they're kind of doing a gathering for this. So another great opportunity to go support local. And like I said, she's a local girl, and I have her cards up here if you want to come check them out. Last but not least, we are recognizing Pride Month. So Salt Lake City passed our resolution to recognize Pride Month. We would love to see more opportunities for other government entities to jump in. They haven't so far, but that's okay. Salt Lake City is okay to lead the way. And so as a part of that, we will be having the parade on this upcoming Sunday. So you're welcome to come down, enjoy downtown, and support the welcoming nature that is Salt Lake City. It's open and available to everyone, and I just wanted to invite you to join. I will stick around after this if there are questions about the budget and or feedback. We have not approved anything, except Eric has a question. Yes. On the camping ordinance? No and yes. So no in terms of it hasn't moved forward yet, but yes, I can tell you that we are working on it as council members collectively with the administration, including Chief Red and Andrew Johnston, to be able to fine tune some of the issues that I think were broadly discussed related to we're not in a space of trying to penalize individuals who maybe had a great night out and are sleeping it off in their car, or an Uber driver who, needs to get a couple hours of sleep before they pick up their next ride. That's really not the goal of this. And I appreciate the community concerns about that. What we are trying to address, though, are things like the RV and the old school bus down by Fairmont Park, where we had multiple citizens reporting both seeing drug use as well as, drug sales that were happening there that have led to some serious unsafe situations, especially right next to the Boys and Girls Club. And our officers do not have the tools, aside from you can't park on a street for more than 48 hours, to be able to address those pieces under the current ordinance. So we're really trying to shift us to a conversation around what does it look like for them to have tools to respond to those types of safety incidents without necessarily moving into a space where anyone who's asleep in a car, could potentially have, a knock on their window or something. So we're working on that. Yes. Okay. I will stick around. Thank you guys so much. Happy Pride. Oh, that's right. Just kidding. There are more opportunities.
hang out with
To hang out, period. So on June 14th, yes. Do we know what time? 2:00 at Sugar House Station, we will be hosting World Cup viewing. And so come on down. There will not be free drinks because your taxpayer dollars do not go to that, but there will be food. And so you can purchase your own drinks, enjoy our food, and enjoy the World Cup. So you're invited to come on down if you are interested. At 2 p.m. on the 14th. Be there or be square. Sugar Station. Netherlands versus Japan. Not really sure why that's our game, but we're gonna find a way.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. Welcome, Gail, to Neighborhood Hive. You're welcome. Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thanks, guys. Oh, hey, grab a mug and some food and a chair, please.